Hi, and welcome to the Health Begins with Mom show. I am Dorit Balvanov, your host. On this podcast, I will share insights and interviews on health, parenting, and explore the question of what does it take to thrive as women, wives, and mothers. Now, let's get going with today's episode. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Health Begins with Mom podcast. This is Dorit Balvanov, your host. How did it go with the challenge? We've just finished a 5-day challenge that is designed to take you from feeling like you are completely sucked dry, like you are just at this place as moms that I think you can relate to, where it's like this point that you ask yourself, really, is this all there is to this experience? Is this how it's going to be? When I ask myself this question, I always think about, what would Cinderella say? Like, what would she think? I thought that we were promised the happily ever after. Where is this happily ever after? And so I describe this state as feeling like you're completely sucked dry, like your juice for life has been completely squeezed out of you. And so, yeah, from feeling like that to stepping into your strength, into your energy, and into your magnetism, and even sensuality and sexuality as a woman, wife, and a mother. And I know that this is possible. And it just hurts me so much to see women who are just so precious and so vital with life force, or at least we were designed to be like that, and created to be so. And it just breaks my heart to see these women, and I definitely was one of them, not so long ago, just being not alive, not living life to the fullest potential, and just not loving the life that we have. And so today on the podcast, I wanted to talk to you about your dirty little secret. If you are on my email list, then you might have received the email from me that has the same subject line. I just wanted to expand a little bit more on that, as I've seen quite a bit of traction, and I see a lot of clicks, and I see that you ladies are resonating with this idea and this topic. And I know that this is kind of like maybe out there, and this is not a subject and a topic that a lot of us think about on a day-to-day, but this is important, and it will make sense as I share more about it. But I want you to start thinking in these terms. Like, I want you to actually be more diligent with yourself and challenge yourself to think in terms of, I deserve a good life. How can I have a better life? What do I need to do in order to have a better life? The life that I currently live, if something in it does not fulfill you, does not satisfy you, then please, for the love of all that is holy, do not just give in to this, how they say, living or being in the trenches and just accepting the fact that it is hard. Yes, being a mom, being a wife, being, having so many responsibilities and being busy, quote unquote. I don't like to use the word busy. I prefer to use the word full. Doesn't mean that you cannot have any joy in your life. I just absolutely disagree with this notion. And so after today's episode and the message that I have for you, it's going to be short, it's going to be sweet, but hopefully it will illuminate your thinking and will get you to think a little bit further. Okay, so let's begin. So the email started like this. This weekend, our 3-year-old drove us crazy. She wanted to wear 4 layers of dresses, one on top of the other. This apparently makes her feel beautiful. What she doesn't understand is that it's too hot and wearing so many layers will make it worse. She feels stuff as a little person, but doesn't know yet how to express it. So there was a lot of screaming and frantic behavior. I personally was on the verge of losing my mind. I tried to keep it cool. I tried to explain it calmly, peacefully, with no drama, but it was really, really hard. And I felt like I'm losing control. My daughter was absolutely hysteric. And it was then that a light bulb went off for me. I remembered an article I've read a couple of weeks ago about women's health, about 100 years ago, and the memory of that article helped me to calm down. And I think knowing this will totally blow your mind, just like it did for me. So, do you know the real meaning of the word hysteria? Are you ready for it? Okay. So in Latin, hysteria means suffering in the uterus. Yep, I am not making this up. And you know what that means, right? That means that being hysteric is a woman's problem. In other words, being born a woman is sort of kind of a curse. Okay, I'm going to say it lightly, but it is considered in the grand scheme of things as something that you kind of a little bit wish inside of you that would be much better and it would be much easier if I was born a boy or a male. So we all know the stigma about men, for example, that men are not hysteric, right? You would never hear, unless, there is a clear mental health problem, a man is not considered to be hysteric. Men are perceived to be logical, rational, stable, linear, consistent, right? Women, on the other hand, are perceived to be hysteric. It's almost like we are doomed to be thought of as anxious, illogical, inconsistent, and cray-cray just because we were born a female. So I know your dirty little secret. I know that you live your life on the cusp of losing control of your emotions, your appetite, your sexuality, and other things. I know that sometimes you are just a hair trigger away from exploding or like losing your mind. I know that deep inside you quietly believe that, well, that's just the way you are. You're just too much to handle, too much to bear. You're just too much. I know that very often you feel like you've stepped inside the skin of a different person, that you are not being yourself. I also know that you feel guilty and ashamed about it. Very similarly to how my daughter felt with this clothing situation. And I also know that you're constantly asking yourself in the back of your mind, whether it is consciously or unconsciously, what's wrong with me? Why am I so out of control? Why can't I get control of myself, my emotions, my feelings, my mental state, my emotional state, my physical state? Why am I constantly struggling? And the reason that I know this is because I am a woman too. I am a female too, just like you are. I know how it feels to be a woman in a man's world. To this day, women's health and pain is mostly, and it's really hard for me to say, but it's just the truth and the reality, but women's health and pain is mostly not understood. It's like basically it feels like trying to explain to my toddler that wearing 4 layers of puffy dresses one on top of the other is too hot. She doesn't get it. She doesn't care, frankly. All she wants is to feel pretty. And that's kind of like, that's how it is working and conversing with a woman. Sometimes it feels like, oh my gosh, there is absolutely no logic, no rationale. It's just, one cray after another. Unless we actually took the time to understand that, what's going inside of that, of that girl, of that woman's head. So like I said, my daughter doesn't get it. She doesn't care. And the truth is, like what's behind and underneath it all is that she just wants to feel pretty. That's all she wants. That's all she wants, right? And this got me to think, and ask this question, what if we are approaching women's health and well-being issues wrong? What if we're not giving women and girls the right tools to take care of themselves? What if instead of being logical and rational, which is very much appreciated in today's world, which I refer to as the men's world, right? So what if instead of being logical and rational with my daughter, I tried to think like her, right? So maybe you've heard this from the parenting advice that is out there, going down to her level, actually become more vulnerable with her and more open in a way that helps both of you to connect as opposed to disconnect. What if I understood her emotionally instead of sending her the signal that she is hysteric or psychotic or crazy, which is something that I have to admit I do and I'm raising 3 girls. We have a lot of drama in our house, right? And I am the master of the drama, as my husband say. So we have a lot of estrogen in this household. And so I did it. I tried. And here's what happened. My daughter, in the beginning, said no, but then she got quiet. And then she burst into tears. She gave me a huge hug, and then she allowed me to take off these dresses. And she felt like mommy gets her. That's the word, get her. And so ask yourself this question, what if we as women don't get ourselves? Just what if? What if our very own womanhood or womanness is not yet understood and we move through life without ever asking ourselves, how do I need to take care of myself? Not just a human being. As a human being, it's great, but actually as a woman. Can it be that my self-care as a woman has to be different? And 100% I am telling you that yes, it is very much different. Very much different. And I've said that many, many times. As a woman, you are not a lovelier version of a man. You are not a less hairy man. You are a woman. You are a female. Your body, your psyche, your hormones, your brain, all of those things, they work completely different than a man. And what happens when we go about our life, living, our lives, thinking that we should be able to do everything that a man does, and then, we struggle, and then we bump against the reality that it is not the same, then we struggle. And then we sleep off the wagon. And the behavior that is going to be expressed to the world is exactly what my daughter had this weekend. It's this emotion of just feeling out of control, out of alignment, feeling like you are hysteric, frantic, and you're just for some reason, you are just not feeling good with whatever is happening, right? And I want you to understand that this is normal. This happens, and it has to happen for you to actually understand yourself better. Give yourself the permission to actually drop um, into your own deepest desires and figure out what are the things that fill you up, that fill up your cup. What are the things that you need for your self-care that make you feel elevated as opposed to drowning, right? So that's what I asked myself. What if as women we don't really get ourselves? What if our very own womanness is not yet understood? What if this is the real reason for our struggles? For our struggles at home, as mothers, as wives? What if this is the real reason for our struggles at work? And with the workforce that was, if you think about it, was really designed for men, right? I've covered I think I spoke about this here on the podcast. If you think about the work week, right? So the 9 to 5, it started way back around the time of the Industrial Revolution, and those times basically, that kind of schedule was created to accommodate a man's body, a man's psyche, a man's ability to feel productive in a day. And so what happens with a male, is that when they wake up in the morning, their testosterone levels rise up, because testosterone responds to the sun. So sun is up, testosterone is also going to be down. Sun goes down, testosterone starts to decline. And as a result, this man is going to feel like his energy is dropping, right? And then this man will not be able to be productive anymore. And so this man has to go home. And that happens around 5 p.m. And so that's how you see that this 9 to 5 schedule was created really for men, to accommodate men. What happens with a woman, and I spoke about the fact that men cycle also. Their cycle culminates every 24 hours, right? So that's what happens. Every 24 hours, the sun goes up and then it goes down. Testosterone up, testosterone down, testosterone up, testosterone down, right? The man gets up, he's fresh, rejuvenated, he's ready to go get on the day and to be productive and be go. And then once the sun starts to set, that's when a male's energy levels start to drop, and he's just ready to unwind and come back home and etc. etc. For a female, it is different. Our cycle, we are obviously also cycling, but our cycle is not in alignment with the sun. It doesn't respond to the sun so much. Although we do also have testosterone levels, and we do respond to the sun, but not as much as we respond to the moon. Okay? So men respond to the sun, women respond to the moon. And the moon is also on a cycle. The moon, however, is not on a cycle of 24 hours. The moon is on a cycle of 30 days. Okay? It has 4 phases, just like the menstrual cycle. It has 4 phases, and I covered this in challenge day number 3. We talked all about the menstrual cycle. If you haven't heard this yet, please go back and listen to my training session about the menstrual cycle and the 4 phases. And so what happens is, this woman, when she's put into that rigid schedule of 9 to 5, over time, she will feel miserable. She'll feel like she's not being understood, like she's being burnt out, like she's just tired, and she's constantly rush, go. And it almost feels like you can never truly sit down and exhale. It feels like you are just in this rat race, running somewhere, not even knowing where you're running, why you're rushing so much, where are you going. That happens because women are forced, well, it's not really forced, right? Because at the end of the day, it is our decision. Nobody forces that. But it's when you are working in the corporate world, you kind of are forced to conform and fit into this schedule, the 9 to 5 schedule, which is designed to benefit mostly men. I have seen very, very small amount of women who thrive off of this kind of schedule. And the reason is because biologically, physically, this doesn't suit us. And so, yes, it raises the question of what is the best way for women to work, right? And of course, you could take it to many different places. I personally believe that women need to have the option of working both in, at the workplace as well as working from home. I also believe that what will be really, really nourishing for the woman is entrepreneurship, although it is super, super hard. But that is the best way for a woman to actually live in alignment with her flow and her feminine current. But even if you're in corporate and you cannot, you feel like the schedule doesn't fit you, there are still many things you can do in order to thrive inside of this system, as opposed to being constantly, depleted by it. And that's something that we talk about extensively inside of the feminine current course, which I'm going to be talking about in a bit. But that is the purpose of this kind of work. It's about really just giving yourself the permission to slow down and ask these questions. Because if you don't ask these questions, then you're just running, and before you know it, your life is over. And I haven't ever met anyone who is at the end of their life, and they're being asked, what, how do you summarize your life? What are the things that matter in your life? Very rarely will somebody say, I really feel proud of showing up for my corporation and doing my best work and that kind of stuff. No, it's very rarely that somebody will actually even mention that. People would usually talk about their, their investment in their home, their investment in in terms of time, I mean, in their connections and relationships, and spending time with loved ones, doing things that fill you up, having amazing experiences, traveling, those kind of things. People, when at the end of their life, those are the kind of things that people actually think about. So it matters for us. And this message for me, as the messenger, it's important for me to deliver this message to you because you are a mom, because you are raising young kids. It matters, because when you give yourself the permission to live in alignment with your biological build, with your design, then you're giving them permission to do the same. And this is how we collectively create a different trajectory for the new generation. This is how we change things. And by the way, it is already changing in the workforce. I know I have a lot of friends who are actually men and women who have the option of working from home, of having a more flexible work schedule, of working. It doesn't really matter how many hours they work. It really matters as long as they actually deliver and do their work. It is accepted in the workforce. So we are already seeing that in the workforce there is this change, because because I think employers understand that this is not a sustainable way for everybody. Just the way it is in the school system, right? It is completely ludicrous to believe that one system will fit all children. And so it is really about understanding each one individually. But when we're going back to our design, like the basic design of male and female, there is a difference between what nourishes us and what nourishes a male. Okay? And also, of course, this, not understanding ourselves and our psyche and body and our rhythms, this also could be the struggle for our relationships, for our, the lack of feeling connected to our partners, or even to our kids and to other people in our community. It is important because what happens is when you cycle and you don't feel your best, and when you understand where you are on your cycle hormonally and how you're supposed to, be socially, when you understand that, then it removes so much guilt and so much shame. It actually gives you permission to own that, as opposed to saying, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Why don't I want to connect? Why do I feel sometimes that I am an extrovert and then sometimes I feel an introvert? It's kind of like this back and forth, feeling of not really understanding yourself. And so that is how it looks like to live in alignment with your feminine current, really owning that power and using it as a power. Okay? And then another question that I ask myself is, what would happen if we women started to understand ourselves better? How would this change your health, your work, your parenting, your marriage? How would it change your sex life? Right? How would it change your sex life as somebody who lives in a partnership with a partner, and then not stopping to constantly feel like you're obligated to him or you have to, to be sexual all the time? No, it's not going to work all the time. And you need to know when in your cycle is the right time for you to be sexual and to express yourself sexually and sensually, right? And also, of course, educating your partner so that he's enrolled into this whole situation and you guys worked and flowed together, right? So think about this. Why is it that to this day, when a woman says how she feels, what she wants, or what she needs, someone always knows better? Think about it. That's a deep question. There's always somebody who would know better. It's almost like we are conditioned to doubt ourselves all the time. And again, this goes back to hysteria, because it's like historically there is this belief that you cannot trust somebody who is hysteric, somebody who is unstable, right? But is it so? Are we really hysteric? Is my daughter really hysteric? Or is it that she has this need that is not being met? She doesn't know how to meet her own need. And then it's just a huge mess. And it ends with chaos and yelling and screaming, and mommy doesn't understand, and daddy doesn't understand, and my sisters don't understand me. And then she grows up and she becomes to be, a preteen, and also, a preteen and teenagehood. That's the kind of like the infamous time for feeling out of control and feeling, being frantic and being hormonal, quote unquote, right? I feel like being hormonal is just another way of saying hysteric. And it's BS. It's not true. We have to stop this madness. It is a madness. And it's just that we don't understand. We don't understand how hormones work and how these hormones affect us emotionally. Okay? So like I said, right? So there's always someone who knows better. Her doctor, her mom, her dad, a teacher, a husband, right? They will always know better than us. And so what would happen if you have owned your own womanness more? How would your life look and feel like if you lived in alignment with your feminine current instead of against it? Right? Because right now, when you still don't understand how it works, it always feels like you're against yourself or your own natural tendencies. And now think about this question. I'm going to say it slowly. What difference would this make to our daughters to think of themselves as normal instead of being hysteric? Right? I'm raising 3 girls, 3 daughters who will one day hopefully grow up to be women, wives, and mothers. And the last thing I want for them is to waste their precious life force energy on feeling like there's something wrong with them, right? And nobody's gonna say, why was I born a girl, right? That's kind of like you need to be very, very conscious on a very kind of like high elevated level to actually admit that. But if you think about it, that is the truth. That is what we're actually bumping against constantly, right? It's like, I mean, I've spoken to so many of you on our discovery calls, and so many of you actually said to me, like, my husband is always just so nice. And even if he works and he's exhausted and he also has, his own hardships and hard moments, but the moment he walks into the door of our house, he drops all of this behind the door. He's just a good person when he comes home. He's a good husband. He's a patient dad. Why can't I be like him? Why? Right? So what you really are asking is, what is wrong with me? Why am I a female and I cannot be like him, a male? What is going on here? Why do I constantly feel like I am, kind of like it's so easy to sway me off my feet as opposed to him who is always stable, always grounded? The answer to that is, believe it or not, it's biological, it's hormonal. It is our hormones that are changing. And if you understand how your hormones work and how they fluctuate and how to feed them, right? How to nourish yourself and how to give yourself the proper self-care. And like I like to say, it's a radical self-care, right? It's not just self-care that is nice to have. It's radical self-care that we have to work from a place of, this is non-negotiable. This is something that I give myself regardless, right? And then really nourish yourself from that place. And this, my love, this is not wishful thinking. This is possible. This is the most sustainable way to live as a woman, as a wife, and as a mother. And as you know, I've been talking about this many times. I have been living in alignment with my feminine current for the past 5 years. And I have personally coached dozens and dozens of women through this same process. So let's talk a little bit about the feminine current. So what's possible for you when you live in alignment with your feminine current? First, life doesn't feel hard anymore. And I know it's kind of like too good to be true, but it's true. When you live your life rhythmically, when you live it cyclically, then it means that rest and rejuvenation is going to be a part of this rhythm. And when you have time to rest, when you have the time to slow down and to just restore, that means that you're giving yourself, you're fueling up. You're not on empty all the time, right? Another thing is, you won't be a victim of your body. So many of you have told me, I feel like I've been betrayed by my own body, right? And the reason for that is that our life is, the pace of our life is so fast that we very rarely stop to just listen. And the body constantly sends us signals and signs and red flags. It's just that we don't listen. We don't pay attention. until it comes to a point where you can no longer ignore it. And then you would say, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with my body? Why do I need this right now? Why does it happen to me, right? When in reality, when you live in alignment with your feminine current, sensual intelligence, we talked about this on challenge day number 2. This is a part of just who you are and how you're going to be. It's not ever going to happen. You are learning to cultivate and develop a very deep connection with your body so that those things, those signals, they never slip away. I'm going to give you my own example. I am at the stage of my life where my body is manifesting very strange skin issues. So I've shared this on the podcast before. I've always struggled with my skin, with my facial skin. I've had acne, cystic acne when I was a teenager. Then I was on a birth control pill for 5 years before I met my husband. Then I got off the pill. I got pregnant, had my kids, and then my skin, it was always kind of like on the borderline. And now it is already becoming a signal. I feel like my skin, my internal organs are screaming at me, pay attention, pay attention. Now it's very, very clear to me that some foods my body just does not like. Right? So I could very easily, ignore this and just say, whatever, right? Because my life is also, the pace of my life is also fast, although I'm much more conscious of it right now and I know how to slow down and pay attention. But this is an example, and I don't feel a victim of my body. On the contrary, I actually feel so thankful to my body for manifesting these symptoms, because this is how my body communicates. I much rather stop this at a skin issue problem rather than it becoming, I'm just thinking about my history and my maternal lineage history. For my grandmother, it was diabetes, and it was brain stroke, and those things, they are manifested over, years and years and years, over decades. And so are you paying attention? Are you being a victim of your body, or are you living in a way that helps you to stop things and living? It's almost like I call this living your life with constantly checking the pulse. Constantly. You are always in control of your body and how it's working, right? And then another thing that is possible when you live in alignment with your feminine current is you will be able to carve out time for yourself out of your busy day. Super important. Super important. Play, fun, just enjoying life, joy. It's a part of your human experience. It should be a part of your life. Why is it that we are not giving ourselves we're not giving ourselves permission to have that? It's almost like when we are responsible for other people, then there is no room for play and there is no room for fun. Oh my gosh, it's such BS. I mean, my daughters don't care if the laundry is done. They don't care if my floor is clean. All they care is that mommy, what they will remember, they won't even remember, and they don't even care if I have cellulite or not. All they care is that mommy is present. Mommy is playing. Mommy is, coming out with us and plays with us with the ball. She goes biking with us. She jumps with us. She laughs with us. Mommy is alive. That's what they want. Right? And I want to be able to have that kind of connection with my daughters where I look at them and I look in their eyes and I'm like, and I tell them, listen, being a mom is really hard, but it's actually really, really, really fun. And it's really, really, really good. It's not only bad. So think about it. As when we are living our lives feeling sucked dry, what is the message we're sending to our kids? Like, I always ask this myself. This question is always in the back of my mind. Why on earth would I you know, come to my daughters, to any one of them, and recommend to them, honey, look, I raised you here, you're ready, go be, be this amazing woman, have this amazing career, go get married, have kids, it's going to be amazing. Now I feel a little bit better to give them this kind of advice or sending them off to life with this. But in the past, it wasn't. I actually felt like I'm being a hypocrite. I'm kind of expecting them, or I'm raising them to be, moms and wives and, these amazing women in the world. But actually, I myself am struggling. And even in the back of my mind, I wish so deeply that I didn't do it. And I didn't take on that load on myself. So it's a big thing. It's a big thing that we have to be thinking about. And we have to come to the reality that it's a choice. It's a choice. It's not that God created us to suffer and struggle. No, it's a choice. It's the conditioning. It's the systems that we work and parent and play and basically exist within. Okay? And then another thing that is possible for you when you live in alignment with your feminine current is you will have more time for fun and play. And you will feel more connected to your husband and children. It's just a given. It's a part of this whole cycle. It's a part of this cycle. To me, this mattered. To me, this mattered. I really, really craved to express myself creatively and to have a business. And, thank goodness I already have it. And the reason I have it is only because I live in alignment with my feminine current. In the past, I didn't even think that it was possible, because to me, my connection with my husband and my connection with my kids, like the sacred work that I do in my home, that's number one. And I didn't feel like I could have all of those things. I felt like something had to go. So in my case, career had to wait. And it's not that it had to wait, it's just that I didn't know how to take care of myself inside of the cycle and how to juggle all of those things in a way that actually is sustainable and nourishing and is possible and manageable for me. Now I know. I still have very young kids. And my business is such a vital part of me, of who I am, and of my family. But this is a part of this feminine current. Okay? So my next question to you is, are you ready for some radical self-care? Do you want to know how it's done? If your answer is yes, then I'm warmly, wholeheartedly inviting you to join me for a 6-week course where we are going to be where I will be teaching you all about how to live in alignment with your feminine current. And in this course, I will teach you how to understand the power of your body, how to use your hormones to your advantage, right? So you don't ever feel like you're a victim of your body. You understand how they work. You actually start knowing how different hormones, when they're being when they're released into your bloodstream, you will know how they feel. It's really cool. And you will know how to make the connections between your 6 female markers that we talked about over at the challenge, right? The word female is actually an acronym for the 6 female markers, which are food, emotion, energy, your menstrual cycle, at rest, which is your need for sleep and restoration. L stands for libido, and the last E stands for elimination and poop. So you will know how to make these connections between the 6 female markers. You would also drop the habits that you hate, because I know you have these habits, right? Whether you have the habit of stuffing yourself with chocolate, or not eating, properly during breakfast and lunch, and then you are starving by the time it's dinner time, and you can eat your arm off because you're so hungry, right? Your blood sugar levels are always unstable. You go days without eliminating and having a bowel movement. Like, all of those things are just bad habits that you hate, but maybe you just don't know how to acquire, or pick up healthier habits. And so when you live in alignment with your feminine current habits, those habits are so much easier, because you will start listening to your body, and your body is so wise that it will tell you the things that you need. Okay? And also, I will teach you how to make your own happiness a priority by taking small steps. It's all about small steps. It's not about grandiose changes. It's not about dropping everything and finally changing your life upside down. That's not what I mean. This course is not designed to shake your life or shake your ground. It's just designed to give you the tools so that your current life will fit into those. Okay, so that you will learn how to live cyclically as opposed to linearly. Okay, because you are a woman, you are a female, and it's very, very much different for you. So whether if you feel out of alignment emotionally, or your body is already manifesting physical symptoms, this course is for you. Remember that you are not doomed for suffering, for pain and struggle just because you're a woman. It's just that you don't yet understand yourself. So give yourself the gift of alignment. Head on over to www.healthbeginswithmom.com/feminine-current and sign up. Enroll to the course. We are starting officially on July 25th, which is next week. If you're listening in real time, it's a Thursday. Our first session starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are going to be having a session weekly for 6 weeks. All the course materials, whatever is included, all of it is on that page, www.healthbeginswithmom.com/feminine-current. So all the, whatever is included in the course is on that page. So head on over there and see all the components that are included. I also am including a really cool bonus that I think this is the only time I will be able to offer it, because my schedule is filling up really, really fast. And that is a one-on-one 60-minute coaching session that is only for you. And it's available only for the first 6 ladies who join the course. I only have 6 spots open. So if this is something that you want, then please take action fast. Don't procrastinate. Do not procrastinate. If your body and soul feel like this is what you need, then just go and take the step, take action. And I promise you, I've done this so many times in my own life. The moment you make the decision, that moment of you actually make the payment, then there's this split second of like exhale. And it's almost like you're gonna do this little happy dance of like, I did it for myself, right? I deserve it. I know I deserve it, and I did it. And that excitement, let that be what you lead with, and as opposed to feeling like you're a victim. So you will go from feeling a victim into feeling like a victor. As you travel through this journey of finding your feminine current and uncovering it. So I cannot wait to see you on the other side. Like I said, the bonus of the one-on-one coaching session with me is only available until July the 18th. So it is going to be, so today is the 15th, July the 18th is on the Thursday. So that is when the doors close for that one-on-one coaching. So if you want that, make sure to head on over to www.healthbeginswithmom.com/feminine-current, sign up to the course, and then you will get an email from me with all the details and all this good stuff. Another thing that I wanted to remind you is on Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday, July the 17th at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be having an information session over at my Facebook page. So Dorit at Health Begins with Mom. That's my Facebook page. And that's when you can ask me anything. You can ask me about the course. You can ask me any other questions that you have. If you're hesitating, whether you should join or not, this is the space, this is the time. And even if you cannot make it live to the session, make sure, if you have any questions, please send them over. You can use my email, so Dorit at healthbeginswithmom.com. Send me your questions and I will make sure to answer them on that session. Also, if you catch the replay at a later time, you can still send me your questions over at the comments and I will make sure to answer them for you. I want this to work for you. I want you to choose yourself. I want you to stop suffering. I want you to stop feeling like you're exhausted, burnt out, and just the life is sucked out of you, right? So stop feeling like you're sucked dry, and it's time for you to step into your strength, into your energy, into your magnetism, and into your power as a woman, wife, and a mother. So cannot wait to see you on the other side. I'm so excited to finally open up this course in a group format. This is going to be the first time I'm doing this. I cannot wait to meet you and get to know you much, much better. And so just before I wrap this up, the last time I'm going to mention the link. So it's www.healthbeginswithmom.com/feminine-current. So head on over there and register, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to the Health Begins with Mom show. I love hearing from you, so please post your comments and questions over at healthbeginswithmom.com/podcast. If you love the show, please share it on social media and in your real life with other moms who might enjoy this content. And if you have a burning question or topic you'd like me to hit on the show, just drop me a line at dorit@healthbeginswithmom.com. And if you love this show and really want to support it, please go to iTunes, write a review, and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Much love and many blessings.